India's relationship with sports science is one that dates back to the 1980s, but it is only in the last few years that athletes have started reaping the benefits. And at the crossroads of both of these, we find Mr. Gaurav Nijhon, a sports scientist and basically the man keeping Indian tennis fit.
I used to get into the gym, all I could see is an 100-meter athlete training like bodybuilder. I somehow thought that this is not the right approach for training athletes. My name is Gaurav Nijhon and I'm a strength and conditioning coach. I've studied masters in strength and conditioning and sports science from UK, and I work a lot with tennis players, and it's been 8 years that I'm pursuing the same.
The face behind the athletes like Ankita, Raina, Rutuja, Bhosale and others, Gaurav ditched his corporate career to pursue the unknown. An Australian Strength and Conditioning Association Level 1 certified trainer today, he has done a certified tennis performance specialist course which is conducted by Dr. Mark Kovacs, a very well-renowned sports scientist in tennis, and certified functional strength coach Level 1 and Level 2 in the US, along with being a Level 1 precision nutritionist. And today, we'll learn a bit more on sports and science with Gaurav Nijhon.
With a lot of tennis players, we might have seen a lot of tennis coaches saying that, okay, bend down and hit, and we say that, okay, jump during the tennis serve. But we are missing something. We are missing, a link in the puzzle, because these guys don't have the underlying capacity to perform that skill. So unless we do not ensure that the athlete has good amount of strength, unless we don't do a right assessment for the athlete, we're never going to know what the underlying issues are. So it's important that we find the underlying issues, work on that capacity building, and once we do that, the athlete will be really good at performing their skills. A moment for me was that when somebody who's training to be a bodybuilder, and if we think that a bodybuilder is extremely fit, they should be really good at sports, they should be really great athletes. But surprisingly, they weren't. So I think that's one of the reasons I thought that no, bodybuilding is a very different sort. I'm not criticizing bodybuilding. They are very good at what they do, but it's not really meant for athletes. One is that I never wanted a desk job, and the impact that I can create in a desk job is very minimal compared to what I can do as a sports science professional. I see direct impact of my work. So I think this is one of the reasons that I did what I did, or doing what I'm doing. And the second thing is that I was an athlete myself. So putting somebody who's on field, on the ground most of the times, and all of a sudden putting him into a 9-to-5 setup was something that I don't think I was made up for. Is that whether Indian parents or the Indian ecosystem, are they ready or they willing to do this? But willingness comes from cost effectiveness. So if you compare both, yes, we are willing, but again, if you see just tennis as a sport, it's an expensive sport. And if we do not have Indian sports science or strength and conditioning professionals in it, the Indian tennis fraternity or Indian sports fraternity who want to avail these services will not be cost effective. So we have to be, number one, be very cost effective, so that there's a boom. By cost effectiveness, it doesn't mean that we're charging just really low, but it should be a win-win for the athlete and also for the sports science fraternity. So unless and until we do not have Indian sports science professionals, we are somewhere missing the boat. We're looking at when we are working with junior athletes is their biological maturity status. So of course I can talk about this for hours and hours, but just to give you a gist, a lot of kids, a lot of parents complaining from outside, they'll be saying that, this guy is around 10 years old but he looks like 18 or 16 years. Usually people say it's age fraud, but it's not age fraud. It's just that he has grown faster compared to other kids. So that is why now if you see in all the major football leagues at the junior level, We've got two ages. One is a chronological age. So let's say if my date of birth is 25th March 2000, by 23 I'll be 13 years old. And the other age is biological age. So I might be 13, but biologically I am 18 years old. So it's unfair for somebody who's 13 playing with an 18-year-old. So now they have started biobanding. So there are under 12s, under 14s, and under 16s based on your biological maturity status. To develop that trust and confidence first with our athletes so that women athletes open up. The second thing is we pick up cues. So we know if the athlete on that particular day, is uncomfortable or probably just telling the coach that my stomach is hurting, from these cues we pick up that the girl is menstruating, and we need to work with that particular woman differently on those days. And then once the trust is developed, the confidence is developed, when they know that yes, if the coach is making me do X, Y, Z sort of things during day 1 of your menstrual cycle, during day 2 of your menstrual cycle, and it is really working, that is when the confidence starts developing. And once that is developed, it's very easy for women athletes to open up and tell us that okay, it is our day 1, it is our day 2, it is our day 3, because their menstruation is directly linked with performance. So yes, so slowly we are trying to break the stigma.